In our last episode, we watched Jessica Wilson walk into a trap. She believed she was coming home to forgiveness, to a second chance. She was wrong. Her journey ended in the dark, cold waters of Lake Travis. And in the aftermath, the world thought it had its villain, a wealthy, powerful sheik from a world away. It was the perfect story, because it was exactly the story the real killer wanted you to believe. Welcome back to The Killer Next Door. I'm Ray. Part 1 was about the lie Jessica lived. Part 2 is about the truth she died for. This is the story of an investigation that had to see through a masterfully crafted illusion. It's about following the digital breadcrumbs, the financial trails, and the forensic ghosts that led away from the obvious suspect, and straight to the doorstep of the man who played the part of a grieving husband perfectly. The man who vowed to love and protect her. This is the story of the evidence that doesn't lie, and the shocking confession that revealed a betrayal so cold, so calculated, it redefines the meaning of evil. This is the story of the husband's secret. For nearly 3 hours, Tyler Wilson paced the bustling arrivals area of the Austin airport, his performance as the anxious, concerned husband worthy of an award. He repeatedly called Jessica's phone, each attempt going straight to voicemail. Initially, airport officials were dismissive of his concerns, assuming it was a simple case of miscommunication. It was only when a distraught Tyler showed a sympathetic security supervisor Jessica's final, ominous text, "Some people here are dangerous," that they agreed to review the security footage. The grainy, black and white video revealed the truth: Jessica exiting the terminal, looking around as if searching for a familiar face. A black Cadillac Escalade with heavily tinted windows pulled up to the curb. A man, his face obscured by a baseball cap and sunglasses, emerged from the driver's side, took her suitcase, and placed it in the back. Jessica appeared to hesitate for a moment, her body language uncertain, before she entered the passenger side of the vehicle. The Escalade then merged into the airport traffic and disappeared. "That's not my car," Tyler told Detective Marcus Reyes of the Austin Police Department, who had been assigned the missing persons case. "I was supposed to pick her up in my blue Ford F-150. Something is very, very wrong." The initial missing person report noted the unusual circumstances: the abrupt departure to Dubai, the mysterious return, the ominous text, the unidentified black SUV. But without any immediate evidence of foul play or signs of a struggle on the footage. The case was initially treated with routine priority. That changed when Tyler provided detectives with the full context: the affair with the wealthy sheik, the encrypted messages he had previously discovered, and Jessica's clear fear upon her return. This was no longer a simple missing person case, it had the distinct aroma of something far more sinister. Detective Reyes, a 15-year veteran with a reputation for dogged thoroughness and a calm, analytical mind, immediately opened a parallel line of inquiry into Sheikh Hassan al-Farouk. A preliminary background check revealed a man insulated by almost impenetrable layers of wealth, influence, and diplomatic connection. Through his father's position as a senior advisor to the UAE government, Hassan enjoyed a degree of protection that made direct investigation difficult. The response from his legal team was swift and unequivocal, arriving via a terse, formal email. "Sheikh al-Farouk has no knowledge of Ms. Wilson's current whereabouts. Their professional relationship concluded weeks ago when she departed Dubai without notice. The sheikh has been continuously present in the United Arab Emirates since that time and has had no contact with Ms. Wilson. He is deeply saddened by her disappearance and hopes for her safe return." Without jurisdiction in Dubai or a single shred of concrete evidence placing Hassan at the scene of a crime, Detective Reyes was forced to pivot, focusing his team's efforts on tracing the black Escalade and Jessica's movements after she left the airport. The vehicle's license plate, partially visible in the enhanced footage, was traced to a national rental agency. The paperwork revealed it had been reserved online using a prepaid, untraceable credit card under the bland, anonymous alias James Williams. The driver matched no employee records, the payment method was a dead end, and the Escalade itself was returned cleaned and empty. For 3 frustrating weeks, the investigation languished. A ghost chase with no tangible leads. Jessica's American phone remained dormant, her social media accounts silent. The trail, it seemed, had gone completely cold. Then, on the morning of July 15th, came Ray Harmon's grisly discovery in Lake Travis. The medical examiner's preliminary report was a clinical document that described a scene of profound horror. The recovered remains constituted approximately 40% of a human body, identified as female, mid-20s. The cause of death was a single, close-range gunshot wound to the back of the head, delivered several weeks before dismemberment. The dismemberment itself was noted for its surgical precision. The cuts were clean, methodical, executed with a specific type of surgical-grade bone saw, and the body had been systematically drained of blood beforehand, suggesting a location equipped for such a gruesome task, like a garage, a butcher's shop, or a specially prepared storage unit. The diamond tennis bracelet, still clinging to the severed wrist, was professionally appraised at approximately $45,000. Most chillingly, a custom engraving on the clasp, invisible to the casual observer, was discovered under magnification. To J, the beginning of forever. H. Dental records confirmed what everyone already feared. The victim was Jessica Wilson. The media explosion was instantaneous and frenzied. "American beauty queen murdered after fleeing Arab sheikh," screamed one tabloid headline. "International love triangle ends in Texas tragedy," declared another. Cable news networks dispatched satellite trucks and crews to Austin, Dubai, and Midland, feeding a voracious public appetite for the sordid details. Reporters camped on the lawn of Tyler's Midland home and staked out the Dubai offices of the Al Farouk Empire. The U.S. State Department issued carefully worded, diplomatic statements about cooperating with foreign authorities, while behind the scenes, diplomatic channels hummed with tense, quiet communication. Thrust into an unwanted and brutal spotlight, Tyler Wilson presented the perfect, heart-wrenching image of the grieving husband. His televised interview on a national morning news program generated millions of views online. Sitting in his modest living room, surrounded by photos of him and Jessica, he broke down on camera. "I failed her," he sobbed, tears streaming down his weathered, honest face. "She reached out for help, she was scared, and I wasn't there to protect her. I should have gone inside the terminal. I should have been there the second she walked out those doors. I should have done more when she first went missing. I keep reading her last text over and over. Some people are dangerous." She knew something was wrong, and now she's gone. The interview was a masterstroke of public manipulation. It successfully redirected the tide of public outrage and suspicion squarely toward Sheikh Hassan, despite his continued, well-documented denials. His legal team produced a mountain of exculpatory evidence, time-stamped security footage from his Dubai office building, signed documents proving his presence there, sworn affidavits from staff and business associates, and most definitively, official passport control records showing no entry or exit stamps to the United States for over 6 months. While Mr. Al Farouk is deeply saddened by Ms. Wilson's tragic death, his attorney stated in a press conference, he had no involvement whatsoever in this heinous act. He has provided complete and total cooperation with all relevant authorities and expects to be fully and publicly exonerated of these baseless and defamatory accusations. While the public drama played out in the media, the quiet, meticulous work of forensic science was telling a different, more disturbing story, one that began to contradict the obvious narrative. The precision of the dismemberment, as noted by the medical examiner, suggested a specific kind of knowledge, medical, military, or perhaps mortuary. Detective Reyes noted in his case file, "This isn't a rage killing. This is a process. The perpetrator knew what they were doing, had the right tools, and took their time. They needed a private, secure location where they wouldn't be seen or heard, and where they could manage a significant mess." This assessment led detectives to search rental records for storage facilities, isolated warehouses, and private garages rented for cash around the Austin area in the weeks leading up to Jessica's disappearance. The breakthrough, when it came, was from a store safe facility on Highway 71, just a 20-minute drive from the airport. Unit 342 had been rented 2 weeks before Jessica's return by none other than James Williams, the same alias used for the Escalade. With a warrant in hand, investigators entered the unit. It had been professionally, meticulously cleaned, but it was not sterile. The use of luminol, a chemical that reveals traces of blood even after cleaning, made the concrete floor light up like a starry night, particularly around a central floor drain. In a dumpster outside the facility, a receipt was found for heavy-duty industrial bleach, plastic sheeting, and a specific brand of odor-eliminating chemicals, purchased the day after Jessica vanished. Most importantly, the facility's external security cameras had captured the renter accessing the unit multiple times, including on the evening of Jessica's disappearance. The vehicle used was not the Escalade, but a dark blue Ford F-150. The footage was poor quality, and the license plate was unreadable, but an enhanced image revealed two distinctive features: a large, visible dent on the passenger side door and a mud-spattered Texas A&M bumper sticker on the rear bumper. Detective Reyes, who had visited Tyler's home multiple times, felt a cold jolt of recognition. He knew that truck. It was parked in Tyler Wilson's driveway. "I need the unredacted cell tower data for Tyler Wilson's phone for the entire month of June," Reyes instructed his team, his voice tight with anticipation. "And get me a full forensic dump of all communications between him and Jessica, especially from the weeks before she decided to come home. I think we've been looking at the wrong man." The phone records and digital forensics shattered Tyler's carefully constructed narrative of the blindsided, grieving husband. While his public communications had portrayed a man devastated by his wife's sudden departure, his private actions revealed a different story altogether. The digital trail showed that Tyler had discovered Jessica's affair with Hassan weeks, if not months, before she ever confessed or left for Dubai. He had managed to hack into her personal email and iCloud account, giving him a front-row seat to her digital transformation and her growing intimacy with the sheikh. More disturbing still were the financial records. Deep within his emails, trash folder, investigators found PDF copies of a $2 million life insurance policy on Jessica's life, taken out just 2 weeks before her departure to Dubai, with Tyler as the sole, irrevocable beneficiary. The application contained a forged version of Jessica's signature. Most damning of all was a series of encrypted messages, recovered from a hidden app on his work phone, between Tyler and an unknown contact. The messages discussed payment for services, cleanup, and making a problem disappear. The final, chilling exchange was timestamped the day before Jessica's flight landed. Target acquired. Terminal 2, 10:45 a.m. Black Escalade will extract. She's expecting you to be in a blue truck. Handle it cleanly. Final payment upon confirmation. When Detective Reyes and his team confronted Tyler with this evidence in a formal interrogation room, the grieving husband facade crumbled into dust. All emotion drained from his face, replaced by a flat, cold emptiness. He uttered the 6 words every guilty man learns from television. I want to speak to my lawyer. He refused to answer any further questions. A subsequent search of his Midland home, conducted with a fine-tooth comb, revealed a hidden floor safe in his garage workshop. Inside, investigators found $50,000 in small, unmarked bills, believed to be the down payment for his accomplice, a burner phone, and most horrifyingly, handwritten notes on body disposal methods, including the chemical neutralization of blood and the weight ratios needed to sink remains in a body of water. The garage itself, though scrubbed, tested positive for traces of the same industrial-grade chemicals purchased from the hardware store. Faced with an unassailable mountain of digital, financial, and circumstantial evidence, and with the death penalty looming, Tyler Wilson's defense team advised him to take a deal. He agreed to a plea bargain, a full, detailed confession in exchange for a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The confession was recorded in a sterile, brightly lit room, with Tyler, now in an orange jumpsuit, speaking in a detached, emotionless monotone. He described his actions with the cold, analytical precision of someone recounting a complex business transaction. Not the brutal murder of his wife. "I knew she was leaving me for good back in April," he began, his eyes fixed on the wall behind the detectives. "I found the emails about Dubai on her laptop when she forgot to log out. She thought I was working night shifts, but I'd switched to days specifically to check on her. I saw the gifts arriving. I read the text messages. I saw the plans they were making for her new life. That's when I started planning, too." According to Tyler, the life insurance policy was not a spontaneous idea born of anger, but a calculated, first strategic step. He had deliberately sought out a company known for its minimal verification processes, forged Jessica's signature with practiced ease, and even created a fake email account in her name to intercept and respond to any confirmation requests. The $2 million policy was active and in force well before Jessica's plane ever took off for Dubai. "I kept thinking about the ledger," Tyler continued, his voice devoid of any feeling. "Everything I'd sacrificed for her. Working double shifts in 100-degree heat, living in a rusted-out trailer for 2 years so she could finish beauty pageants, putting every single one of my own dreams on hold while she chased hers. And then she just throws it all away. For a man who buys her things. She owed me. If she wasn't going to be my wife anymore, if she was just going to become his thing, then she at least owed me compensation for my investment." The most chilling aspect of Tyler's confession was his description of the ease with which he orchestrated Jessica's return and murder. When she reached out, vulnerable and desperate, he saw not a wife seeking reconciliation, but the final, moving piece of his puzzle falling into place. He cultivated her trust through a series of perfectly crafted, sympathetic messages, all while simultaneously finalizing the arrangements with his accomplice, a man he identified only as a former oil field co-worker with specialized skills from his military service, whom he paid a total of $200,000. "I knew if I picked her up myself, I'd be the first suspect," Tyler explained with unnerving logic. "So I hired someone who knew how to handle these things professionally. He took care of the rental car, the storage unit, the initial contact. My job was to establish my alibi and wait for the insurance company to pay out. I knew the police would look at the Arab. Rich foreign businessman kills his mistress. It's a story people understand. I just had to point them in that direction and let their own assumptions do the rest of the work for me." The district attorney presented the court with surveillance footage from a gas station near the storage facility. Timestamp laid on the night of June 15th. It showed Tyler, wearing gloves, purchasing more cleaning supplies and heavy-duty black garbage bags. He was seen leaving the facility hours later, carrying what appeared to be heavy, weighted bags that investigators believe contained the portions of Jessica's body that were never, and may never be, recovered. During the sentencing hearing, Tyler sat perfectly still, showing no reaction as Judge Robert Hernandez delivered a scathing assessment of his crimes. "Mr. Wilson," the judge began, his voice resonating with a mixture of anger and disgust, "the court has reviewed the evidence and listened to your confession. You have exhibited a level of calculation, of cruelty, and of sheer avarice that is rarely encountered. You systematically transformed what should have been the private grief of a failed marriage into a premeditated, cold-blooded scheme to profit from your wife's murder. You manipulated her trust when she was at her most vulnerable, you exploited her desperation, and you ultimately destroyed her life for your own financial gain. The law allows for no other outcome." He then sentenced Tyler Wilson to life imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice System, without the possibility of parole. The only flicker of emotion Tyler displayed throughout the entire proceeding came when the judge additionally ordered that the $2 million from the life insurance policy be seized and placed into a victims' compensation fund, forever denying Tyler and his family the blood money he had killed for. The identity of Tyler's accomplice remains one of the case's most troubling and persistent mysteries. Despite an extensive federal investigation, the man who picked up Jessica from the airport, the man with the specialized skills, has vanished into thin air. The enhanced surveillance footage shows only a Caucasian male of average height and build, his face expertly hidden. The DNA evidence recovered from the storage unit was too badly degraded by the industrial chemicals to be of any use. Tyler, in a final act of control, has steadfastly refused to provide any information that could lead to the man's identification, taking that secret with him to his prison cell. The accomplice represents a significant and dangerous loose end, noted FBI Special Agent Carla Rodriguez, who was brought into the case due to its interstate dimensions. The level of skill displayed in the abduction and body disposal suggests either formal military training, perhaps in special forces, or experience in a field like emergency medicine or even mortuary science. We continue to pursue every possible lead, but Tyler Wilson's refusal to cooperate has been a significant and frustrating obstacle. A forensic psychologist, Dr. Nathan Phillips, who evaluated Tyler for the court, provided a chilling analysis of the murderer's psychology. What we are looking at here is a textbook example of what we call possessive entitlement. Dr. Phillips testified. Tyler Wilson did not view Jessica as an autonomous human being with the right to make her own choices, even if those choices hurt him. He viewed her as an asset, an investment in his own life narrative. He had poured time, money, and his entire identity into this asset. When she chose to leave, he did not perceive it as the end of a relationship, but as the theft of his property. The insurance policy is particularly telling. It wasn't just about the money, it was a way to legally convert his property into a liquid asset he could still possess and control after she was gone. It was the ultimate act of ownership. Dr. Phillips was careful to note that while Tyler's rural, traditional upbringing may have contributed to this mindset, it was not an excuse. Millions of men from similar backgrounds experience betrayal and do not resort to murder. The critical difference lies in Tyler's pathological inability to process rejection and his profound capacity for emotional detachment, which, when combined with his methodical nature, created a perfect storm for calculated, premeditated violence rather than a crime of impulsive passion. In Dubai, Sheikh Hassan al-Farouk has maintained a scrupulous public distance from the case while working diligently behind the scenes to rehabilitate his reputation. His legal team successfully pursued and won substantial defamation lawsuits against several media outlets that continued to imply his involvement after Tyler's confession, in a move that critics labeled as cynical and self-serving, but which his foundation framed as an act of remorse. Hassan established the Jessica Wilson Memorial Scholarship, a fund dedicated to helping young women from rural backgrounds pursue degrees in international business. While I had only a brief professional and personal relationship with Ms. Wilson, Hassan stated in a prepared press release, her drive and her determination to transcend her circumstances were undeniable. This scholarship ensures that her name will be associated with opportunity, and that other young women with similar dreams will have a path forward that she was, tragically, denied. The careful wording, professional and personal relationship, allowed him to acknowledge a connection without admitting to the specifics of their arrangement, successfully repositioning him from a suspect into a benevolent, if belated, philanthropist. For Jessica's family, particularly her parents, closure remains a distant, elusive concept. The fact that a significant portion of Jessica's body was never recovered has left a wound that cannot heal. The not knowing is a special kind of torture, her mother said, her voice hollow with grief, in a statement after the sentencing. That man didn't just murder our daughter. He is still torturing us from his prison cell. He stole her life, and now he is stealing our ability to lay her to rest with dignity, to say a proper goodbye. We will never have peace. The case of Jessica Wilson has since become a staple in criminology textbooks and psychological studies, a modern cautionary tale about the lethal potential of possessive entitlement masquerading as love, the unique vulnerability of women seeking to escape unhappy relationships, and the dangerous, often deadly, allure of a fairy tale ending that is too good to be true. What makes this case so deeply unsettling, reflected the lead prosecutor, Miranda Jenkins, is the terrifying normalcy of the killer. There were no prior domestic violence calls, no history of arrests, no glaring red flags in his past. He was, by all accounts, a regular, hard-working guy. This case holds up a dark mirror to our society and reminds us that sometimes the most lethal threat isn't a stranger or an obviously monstrous individual. It is the quiet, familiar person standing next to you, the one who believes that love is not a partnership, but a form of ownership. As Tyler Wilson begins his life sentence within the harsh, unforgiving confines of the Polunsky unit, the questions his case raised continue to haunt the investigators. Will have a path forward that she was, tragically, denied. The careful wording, professional and personal relationship, allowed him to acknowledge a connection without admitting to the specifics of their arrangement, successfully repositioning him from a suspect into a benevolent, if belated, philanthropist. The community, and all who have heard this story. Who was the ghost-like accomplice who helped execute this brutal plan with such chilling efficiency? Where are the missing parts of Jessica Wilson's body, and will they ever be found to give her family peace? And perhaps most disturbingly of all, how many other seemingly normal, loving relationships are hiding the same dark undercurrent of entitlement? The same unspoken belief that a partner is a possession to be controlled, and if necessary, destroyed? The story of Jessica and Tyler Wilson forces us to confront these uncomfortable truths. It challenges us to recognize the critical, life-saving difference between genuine, nurturing love and the suffocating prison of possessive control. Jessica's tragic end stands as a stark and permanent reminder that when a relationship becomes a transaction, when a human being is valued as an investment rather than a beloved equal, the consequence can be, and in this case, was, murder. Confines of the Polunsky unit, the questions his case raised continue to haunt the investigators. If this deep dive into the darkest corners of betrayal and possessive entitlement has impacted you, if it's made you think twice about the nature of trust, then you understand why this community and these investigations are so vital. Here's how you can continue this mission with us. 1. First, if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and that you've hit the notification bell. This story may be over, but the hunt for the truth never stops. We are already investigating our next case, Another shocking story of crime and consequence that you will not want to miss. Your subscription ensures you're there when we break it open. 2. Second, I need to hear from you in the comments below. This was a complex and emotionally charged case. Let's discuss this as a community. 3. And finally, please share this video. Share it with a friend. Share it with a family member. Awareness is our most powerful weapon. Your share could be the warning that helps someone recognize the signs of possessive control before it's too late. It could literally save a life. Thank you for watching both parts of this tragic story. Thank you for your compassion, for your pursuit of justice, and for being a voice for victims like Jessica who can no longer speak for themselves. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and never be afraid to speak up. I'll see you in the next investigation.
Life without parole.